Parliamentary updates.
The Rotunda Gallery at the Red House had as its theme for the October exhibition, Tales of Our Ancestors. The display featured art pieces highlighting superstitions, folklore stories, and folk tales. Folklore in Trinidad and Tobago and many parts of the Caribbean are inspired by the influences of the West African, East Indian, and French Creole peoples who came or were brought to the islands many years ago. Several of their spiritual beliefs and practices were incorporated into the legends and stories we all grew up hearing today. The Speaker of the House of Representatives, the Honorable Bridget Anisette George MP, addressed those gathered.
This exhibition, Tales of Our Ancestors, is an opportunity to showcase the narratives of the past, narratives that once so inherently defined us as a people, narratives which were treasured, and moving those narratives beyond the realm of the spoken word and transporting them to the imagination and at the mercy of the interpretation of yet another storyteller, the visual storyteller, you, the artist.
Referring to a quote by Einstein, Madam Speaker urged the artists to keep imagining.
And right here, in this mighty nation, we have produced and continue to produce distinguished men and women who have gone beyond the limits of their knowledge and ventured into the imagination of possibilities with the tales of Remember When and Once Upon a Time, which have intrigued and entertained us.
Even though society has modernized, Madam Speaker challenged all creators to find new ways to make the tales of our ancestors relevant.
One may say that the timing of this exhibition is not just hapstance. As we all know, Halloween, which is growing its recognition locally, is being celebrated next week. And therefore, this may serve as an impetus to ignite those who are involved in such celebrations to incorporate sub-local content. Let's face it, with environmental factors like climate change, Papa Boa could now become our little motif for the guardian of the forest, the guardian of the environment. We could remake him.
The founder of the Caribbean Books Foundation was present and spoke to us about her organization.
So Caribbean Books Foundation really supports other Caribbean authors. Yes, we help each other. We're on social media. We have a blog, so we promote each other's work. I do author interviews. If you have a book coming out, I'll promote the book at the same time. And then when we registered it, we started having directors and we started getting grants. So it started just building and building every year. But the purpose behind Caribbean Books Foundation is support other Caribbean authors and to get our work out there.
Ms. McKee declared her love for folklore.
I think folklore is something that the Caribbean owns, and I really want to see it promoted. I think that our characters aren't just villains. We have heroes as well, and we can get some really nice stories if we just look into these characters and we look to see what kind of story we can get, because other people have their own mythology. So we have to look at it like that, not just folklore. We have to look at it like Caribbean mythology, and it's like we're building a brand out of the Caribbean. So the more we have books coming out of the Caribbean, now we could say we can have our own. We could say Caribbean folklore is a genre now, but we have to get more people writing.
An artist herself, she explained one of her pieces.
This is my version of Papa Boy, and he is the version that's usually in my books. So when you think about Papa Boy in my books, this is what Papa Boy looks like. And I have like other paintings, like I would have like the souvenir, I have the larger bless, I have the Lagaho. So all of those characters you would find that I usually, because I write and I draw, whenever I have a character, I usually illustrate. So all of these characters will somehow or the other will come up in my books. So these are characters from the books.
The Parliament channel spoke with some of the artists present.
I found that, as the speaker there was talking about, that create new stories, right? So the idea is like, right now people into Marvel and stuff, and a lot of these children forgetting what these things are. So to get them interested into the folklore, I decided to do some artwork that will interest them rather than us going to them. Well, they come to us, we go to them, and then design stuff that is like that. But they would be interested in bright stuff, comic book looking stuff. This will take me like 5 hours only on drawing. But the real work is the research. I love that we're getting this out here, and we encourage people to, as you say, the younger people. I said I wanted this to be for younger people, and I'm seeing that younger people out here doing these things is really interesting. And I would like to see more stuff like this.
So I had started doing some sketches on some of the folklore that we have in Trinidad, and I started writing a book based on them. Didn't finish it as yet. And then my wife told me that there was the exhibition and I should do something for the exhibition. And I think it was just like 3 days before. So it took like about 3 days to complete. And yeah, I thought Papa Boa was probably the best character to portray for the exhibition. Like walking around and looking at some of the pieces is inspiring, to be honest. And there's a lot of young people here doing artwork at a very high level. So that's good to see.
Well, my auntie likes to tell me all these old folklore tales because she's from Tobago, right? She's from Black Rock. So she told me a story about a Elijah Bless who used to be in the village, and I really felt inspired by it. And it just so happened that this exhibition came up. So as soon as I saw it, I was like, I need to enter. Yeah, so it came from this mysterious pretty lady in Tobago, and that was the whole vibe I went for. It took me about a week because I couldn't decide, I was like, should I put her in this angle or that angle? Where did cow hoof go in? How pretty she had to look, But in the end, it turned out really good. For me, I've grown up around folklore, hearing tales from my grandma and my aunt. So when I saw it, I was like, no way. And when I came to the actual exhibition, my mind was just blown away. It's so beautiful.
Well, for this piece, it was just, I wanted to capture the image of the souvenir, but based on the story, she is known for shedding her skin. So I was like, since I'm a portrait artist, how do I recreate a face with no skin? Which led me to the idea of, what if I could create a human figure, because that's what she is, out of fire without using any kind of, typical human properties. So I created the form without the basics of it, which was an interesting process. It took about 2 weeks of me just coming up with different ideas and trying different experiments and, a lot of just inventing different lights, shadows, understanding how to paint fire, how to work with it to create shapes, because it's something that's so abstract and random. So I had to find a way to make that something intentional with form, which is not what fire is. So yeah, it was quite a process. I think the concept of the exhibition is excellent because there's so many young artists here. And that is definitely something that's important to help keep the culture within the youth and keep it prevalent and, recent. It's important because it helps to modernize what folklore is so we don't get caught up in other cultures, due to mainstream media, of course, and make sure that we are able to appreciate and understand where we come from and what our origins are.
And this piece was inspired by the theme of the gallery's showing. So, when I saw the theme Tales of our ancestors, it kind of got, and my mind was reeling as to what to come up with. And I don't know, something, came up about Malju. I find Malju is something that, a lot of older folks, believe in, they talk about, and even up to this day, a lot of people, every time they feeling sick and so on, they say, I get a Malju, right? So, traditionally, they use a lot of jet beads and so on, but in recent times, the Turkish evil eye has been popular to ward off Malju, right? So that was my inspiration for the piece, to create an evil eye. Actually, it took about a week. It's a mixed media piece, so I use a lot of materials I had lying around at home. So, you know, if you notice, it would be like pieces of cloth, fabric. I use pieces of carnival costumes, old pieces of jewelry. You'll even see buttons in there, paper clips, wooden pegs, everything that was blue and could fit into the theme. I used it. And then, of course, you know, I did a bit of wool work in the middle there. I think it's a wonderful idea. I just think that, you know, a lot of us, like, for example, I'm a self-taught artist, and, you know, I do a lot of work, and, you know, it's a nice opportunity to show your work, to display it, as well as, you know, it keeps you creative, because every time you see a new theme come up, you know, you are able to make something to fit into that theme. And I think it's really wonderful for children as well. You know, when I was growing up, you know, when you say you are doing art, it's not as revered as it is now, whereas now children have the opportunity to, you know, get creative and have so many more job opportunities in the field.
My mother made me draw Papa Boa, and I love scary stories about Papa Boa and the twins. It inspired me to create this painting.
The inspiration behind this piece was to bring together something that would be tying our culture with my artwork, which is Bonansi, tying back into the West African culture as well. I enjoyed the exhibition because to see so many talented people on the island is always be amazing to me, you know, and young ones especially.
My inspiration for this piece was to bring a new light to the women of doom in folklore, to make them seem more humane, because, well, as you can see, they are sitting around a fire having a panchayat, and a panchayat is like a little meeting, so they're just talking about whatever they did for the past month or however long they decide to have their monthly or whenever panchayats for. It took me about a week and a half to complete. It was made of, well, the dresses were from fabric. These details were from fabric. This, the silk cotton tree, and the tail for Mama Glow were paper mache. So it took a while to smoothen it out and give it the desired texture. I think it was an amazing theme, and I think that all the artists and their work, they're extremely creative, and it's extremely beautiful to see other people appreciating folktales the way I do.
The Tales of Our Ancestors exhibition featured 86 pieces of artwork from 63 artists. Stay tuned for further parliamentary updates. For more information, visit our website at www.ttparliament.org and follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram.
Parliamentary updates.